Hey everybody, welcome to the Lifestyle Practice Podcast. Steve Vandegraff here. I'll be your host today. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to switch gears a little today. On this podcast, we usually talk about practice management, finances, mindset, but I wanted to talk to you about health today. Dentistry is a pretty sweet gig. We get to help people, we make people smile, we get to pretend to be real doctors, and if you do it the right way, dentistry can give you an incredible income and a great lifestyle. But there's a couple things that are not so hot about it, and one of them is your health. We're talking physical and mental wellness today. It's interesting, I read a survey from a couple thousand dentists, and over 50% of them reported having a real issue with lower back pain, and there were also some with upper back, neck, or shoulder pain. So chronic pain problems in our career is a real deal. Mental or emotional health isn't really doing any better either. In the same survey, 3/4 of dentists said that they experienced burnout, and a quarter of respondents said that they have severe unhealthy levels of stress in their life. It's very likely that while I'm saying this, it's resonating with you. You may be nodding and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, dentistry is tough on your body, and as Marshawn Lynch would say, it's tough on your mentals. Then owning a practice and managing a business and employees is a whole other level to add on to above doing the dentistry. Since it's easy to get overrun by all the demands and stress, I wanted to remind you today to take care of yourself. You can be helping lots of people and making great finances, but it doesn't do anything for you if it's costing your health and your sanity. So I'm going to share 4 pillars of physical and mental wellness to help you in your life. Much of this, I'll say, it's information that comes from Peter Attia's book, Outlive, which is a great book. I would recommend you read it. It's very thorough, based off great research. It's probably the best health book that I've ever read. So pillar number 1 is sleep. If you sleep 7 to 8 hours every night, good for you. Keep it up. But if you don't, listen to me, you are hurting your mind and your body. That might seem a little extreme, but it's true. And I'm sharing this as somebody who was not afraid in the past to push into the night or early morning to get work done, to finish something for school, help family, whatever it is. But it is not worth compromising your health here. If you think sleep is overrated, consider this. Do you know what animals don't sleep? 0. There's no such thing. Every living, moving thing on earth sleeps. And if an animal or a person goes too long without sleep, it just dies. So it's very important. Sleep restores your mind, gives you memory and decision making. Being low on sleep screws up your memory and your decision making. Sleep boosts your mood, gives you energy, helps you feel alert. And it's not just for your brain. Proper amounts of sleep at night help your heart and your cholesterol levels. It helps your weight by managing your hunger hormones. For example, if you don't sleep much one night, your cortisol levels are through the roof for the next 24 hours. Stress hormone, inducing inflammation and shunting your calories towards fat production. Muscle growth, also immune health, longevity, you name it, sleep does it all. Matthew Walker, who is a sleep scientist at Berkeley, he wrote a book on all of this, and I'd recommend you read it. But he says that traditionally we have viewed sleep as a part of health, kind of like a brick in a wall, along with diet and exercise, and which are some of the things we'll talk about next. But he says this is not just a part of your health. This is the foundation on which all those other things stand. So super important. What should you do for better sleep? Of course, commit to it. Treat it as important as it really is. If you have something that just has to get done, go to bed and wake up really early. If you sacrifice sleep for a few more hours tonight, you're going to feel groggy and ineffective for the next 2 days. It's not worth it. Be consistent. Have a cutoff time where you go to bed and you get your body in a stable rhythm night after night. Get the screen out of your face at least an hour or 2 before bedtime. Get yourself a paper book to read, but no screens. That blue stimuli, the light or whatever, it upsets your brain's natural sleep preparation. And sleep in a cold room. That helps you sleep a lot deeper. These things will make your sleep much more restorative. So pillar number 1 was sleep. The next is diet. Now there's a million ideas out there about the best foods to eat, and there's different diets, and they all claim to have great studies backing up their claims. And I'm not a dietitian, so I can't tell you to do paleo or keto or Mediterranean or whatever is the best thing. But we all know at least what junk garbage food is. And everyone with all these different ideas and diets, we can all agree that you must cut that stuff out. I'm talking about fast food, highly processed or fried food, candy, junk food. It's terrible for your heart and for your body. This stuff is what is called SAD, Standard American Diet, and it's largely why over like a third of Americans are obese. You don't have to have a fancy diet. The most important thing is just to cut out the garbage, okay? And if you've done that, you've won most of the battle. Heart disease or atherosclerosis is statistically the most likely thing that is going to kill each of us off. And the saturated fats in those food lead to our body's own cholesterol production, the type that clogs our arteries and increases ApoB, which is a lipoprotein, which is very destructive on our hearts. I'd recommend you read about that if you'd like. So your tip for diet today is very simple. Vegetables and lean proteins are your friends, and become a person of self-mastery that can just say no to all the garbage. This is not complex, and it doesn't have to be. In fact, Peter Attia, in his book, he says, as he travels around and talks to people about health, the most common questions he gets are about nutrition, food, and supplements. And he says this focus just misses the mark on health. And he says, stop debating the minutia about micronutrients and supplements, and instead go outside and exercise. And that is our third pillar. If there was a miracle medicine that came out without any side effects that could do everything for you, prevent death, make your body strong, give you energy, improve your mood and happiness, it could prevent disease, and it could protect your heart or even heal a bad heart, well, that pill would be revolutionary, and it would completely change the world. Everyone would be scrambling over each other to get it and take it every day. Well, you see where I'm going with this. Yes, there is actually a wonder pill like that, and it is exercise. Everyone can have this miraculous drug as long as you commit to 30 to 45 minutes a day of working out. In Outlive, I found a couple things pretty interesting that I'll share. There has been billions and billions of dollars put into research grants and decades of research into cognitive diseases like Alzheimer's and its relatives. These diseases, if heart disease and cancer doesn't kill you, will be the third cause of your death. And despite all the funding, all the research, modern medicine has not found a single treatment, medication, or prevention for these cognitive diseases, with the one exception of regular cardiovascular exercise. Isn't that interesting? It's the only way to treat those things. Moving 10 to 15,000 steps a day cuts all-cause mortality by 60%, which is crazy. And fitness now determines your health later. So how strong and healthy you maintain your body right now, that determines your mobility and your health later in life. It's not something you can put off now and get around to later in life when you're going to have more time. So important to remember that. For me personally, those are great, but I like the here and now benefits. Exercise is, for me, nature's antidepressant. And in a weird paradox, if I feel tired, if I go spend my energy in exercise, I actually get way more energy back. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or an ultra endurance athlete, though. If you want to pursue those things, it's awesome by all means. But what I'm talking about here is functional fitness for your everyday life. Regular 30 to 60 minutes that become a part of your everyday routine will make you happier and more effective, and yes, live much longer. To the specific point of what many dentists face, back pain, I'd recommend you make core exercises a regular part of your life. It's interesting, nobody practices dentistry without disability insurance, but how many people skip out on the things that actually prevent you from being disabled or uncomfortable? So I'm not a fitness pro, but I would recommend, just from personal experience, focus on your core and your glutes. Even if you're not going to the gym and have a regular workout schedule every day, start with really simple stuff. 3 sets of push-ups, lunges, sit-ups, and bodyweight squats. You can do it in 15 minutes. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need any equipment. You can do it literally in your kitchen or like a small hallway. Again, you don't have to be a fitness professional or a model for any of this, but doing these things every day without missing will really help you feel a lot better when you're working at the office, certainly, and just in life. The second thing I'll say about lower back pain that, again, 50% of dentists struggle with is that motion is medicine. If your back bugs you, your impulse is just to sit down and relax. But that's the opposite of what your back really needs. Move around. Physical activity is what's going to help you. Motion is medicine. At my office, I was always scheduled full, and I thought that I was moving all over the place from chair to chair throughout the day. But I, put on a smartwatch and track my steps. And even on busy days, I would have like 2,000 steps by the time the office closed. And so despite my idea of me, getting a lot of movement in at the office, the truth is most of what we do as dentists is we just sit and we twist, and that's it. So compensate this with more movement outside the office. Motion is medicine. The last pillar that we'll talk about is social support. I'm talking about relationships that help lift you up and keep the stresses that you feel at the office in check. The Grant study is the longest spanning health study ever performed. It followed several hundred men from age 18 to 20, and it followed them for 7 decades. It has given researchers all sorts of data to examine and correlate and isolate. But guess what the number one predictor of a long and happy life is? It is positive relationships. They found that having people in your life makes you happy, and that changes you physically to make you live longer. Their thought was more happiness leads to less stress, which leads to lower chronic inflammation, which over many years makes a big difference. We're social creatures, and when we're alone, we don't do so well. And the solo doc practice, which is most of dentistry, is quite isolated. So prioritize your wellness by prioritizing your relationships. Spend time with your spouse or your partner. If you don't have a partner or if you don't have kids yet, it's even more important to anchor yourself with positive relationships. People that accept you and that you just enjoy to be around. Personally, I'm guilty of being kind of a tough guy, the Lone Ranger type that doesn't love to open up and talk about feelings, but I'm learning with the help of my wife that being able to talk and share experiences is super important so that your stress, it doesn't turn into a pressure cooker that later can explode or quietly crack and break you down. One thing I've noticed in doing coaching calls for the last 5 years, we focus a lot on strategy, systems in your practice, your mindset, but there's often times where you just got to be able to talk and vent through things, get the stress out. And after you do that, you feel better. You're able to operate more effectively, and you kind of have a more clear mind where you're able to change yourself and the things around you. So relationships are a huge part of your wellness. Prioritize spending time with the people who are the most important to you, and plan every week something enjoyable that you can do with them and look forward to. Wrapping this all up, remember the 4 pillars of wellness that we covered today are sleep, nutrition, exercise, and social connection. Protect your sleep by going to bed at the same time each night in a dark, cold room without your device in your face. Prioritize those 8 hours. Eat real food. It takes self-mastery, but you can do it. Commit to a workout schedule. If you haven't never really done this, just start off at least with the simple stuff and move your body more every day. And then, of course, stay connected to the people who bring you energy. I know these aren't revolutionary ideas, but they are foundational. If you neglect them, the most profitable practice out there can't make up for the toll on your body and your mind. On the other hand, if you commit to consistent improvement in these areas, you'll not only enjoy a longer, healthier life, but you'll just every day be more energized and present. You'll be more effective in your practice and your life relationships. With that, everyone, thank you for listening. Keep building a life and a practice that you love. And when you need help, or if you want to create a more successful and less stressful practice faster than what you're doing right now, that's what we do. So reach out to us at Matt, Derek, or Steve at thelifestylepractice.com. You can also go to our website, thelifestylepractice.com, and fill out a small submission survey where you give us a little information on how you're doing, where your practice is at, and we'll weigh in and connect with you. With that, have a great week.
Sicker than your average. Sicker than your average.
Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way.
Sicker than your average. Sicker than your average.